full moon tends to get a bad rap as much as Mercury retrograde does. But the truth is, it could just be something that since those assumptions have been around forever, that, we find confirmation and even comfort in things that help our brain make sense of whatever it is we don't understand. And yes, while it's the truth that people do seem to go apeshit during the full moon phase, well, we have to remember that the new moon was 2 weeks prior to that. And when we're talking about hospitalizations and things that go bump in your mind, there are more emergency calls made during the new moon, and it usually lasts that whole time period of 2 weeks from the new moon in a sign to the full moon in another sign. And yeah, there's plenty of people who would probably tell me, no, I'm lying, or I don't know what I'm talking about, but you would need to realize that I'm a lunar gardener, meaning that when I plant a garden, I follow the phase of the moon. And never in all of my 53 years have I ever really noticed that at the height of the full moon, people are going insane. But I do notice, like I said, 2 weeks before is when there are more calls to 911 for people making attempts on their own lives. And during that 2 week time, if you watched the news, look at the news on the, read the news, watch the news. And when the new moon started, by the full moon, if you watched it for a few cycles, you would see that every new moon, people are very hopeful, right? And by the full moon, that hope has fruitioned into something else. And at this time in our history, there's a lot to be desired for, what we're hoping for and what we end up with. So, yes, during the full moon, like somebody said in, one of my groups and on my Instagram, in response to a video made during the full moon in Libra, the reason why I think and have studied and made note of, the reason why I think it happens the way it happens is definitely because of the new moon to full moon phase. Just like I talked about a couple of days ago, how when the moon is new in a sign, it doesn't become full in that same sign for a few months, 6 months. And for a very long time, people have been making it a thing, not lately, right? But I'm going to say since 2014, or no, 2004. My bad, I just woke up. People have been, relying on that movie and the instructions in The Secret in using the new moon to full moon phase. You go write you write your new moon checks, your manifestation checks, and then you wait 2 weeks. No. When you write those intentions, it doesn't matter if it's on a check or not. When you write your intentions during the new moon, you gotta wait 6 months, and you gotta put some effort into that. Okay, there is no such thing as writing yourself a check and it's gonna happen. It's not going to happen. Not in 2 weeks. Maybe you win the lottery. Maybe somebody leaves you a bunch of money in a will. But when it comes to manifesting things, and we're talking about desperate people making and writing intentions to happen for them by the time the full moon happens, and it doesn't happen. Well, yeah, people are going to go lolo. They're going to be pupuli. They're going to not be happy. And why? Because they were sold on this idea that if you go plant your seeds at the new moon, by full moon time, you're going to have what you need. It's not going to happen in 2 weeks. And I believe that whole idea of wishing for something during one phase of the moon and then wishing really hard for it to happen 2 weeks later. Somebody not paying attention. And it's not me. It's also not you, I hope. So the reason why I think, and just having studied astrology and human behavior, and, watching the macrocosm come alive in the microcosm, the reason I think people tend to go bananas during the full moon is, number one, we've been told people lose their minds. Okay, we have all of these memories, lots of us, from being a kid and watching werewolf movies and, seeing people get arrested, people unaliving other people, people doing crazy shit that is outside of their actual behavior. And I guess just like Mercury retrograde, there is an excuse as to why during that phase of the moon you can get away with whatever you like, and that is not the truth. So to believe that it is the moon that makes us crazy, that it's any planetary shift, any kind of thing having to do with those planets, it's a very good idea to realize that when you internally feel the shift of the planet, regardless if you believe it or not, regardless if your beliefs allow for what I have to say, to become part of your thoughts about how we view the way the planets move, and with these words, making it very, very clear to everybody that we are also on a planet orbiting around the sun. And plenty of people forget that. And real quote-unquote scientists want you to believe that it's all a bunch of hooey. Well, to those buggers, I like say, if we could go backwards in time, would you be saying this to the philosophical Greeks, Romans? Would you be bothered with telling people like Galileo and Da Vinci, all those guys, that their beliefs in the movement of the planets is all a hoax? Because I don't think so. And coming from an ancient people myself, Hawaiians, Kanaka Maoli, there's a reason we're called wayfinders, because we find our way looking at those stars. We navigate the ocean. No more map, just the stars. So why would this be different? Think about it that way. So when you're thinking about it that way, you also have to think, if the moon and the planetary, stuff going on can affect the ocean, and we are made primarily of water, or mostly of water, why wouldn't it have the same effect on us? Coupling that, that is our internal reality, coupling that with everything we've been told for generations and never being given an explanation that people would accept. There is my theory as to the reason why people will apeshit during moon phases or full moon phase. It is the same reason why people during Mercury retrograde end up worried and anxious and trying to be perfect and all that kind of stuff. And it is absolutely not only the movement of the planet. It is also the way we have been taught and the things that we have learned, because there's a huge difference between being taught and what we learn. So, please stop blaming it on the full moon. You did that shit because you wanted to. Your internal, stuff going on and the beliefs that everybody has, well, lots of us have, in regards to going populi and getting away with it and blaming the moon or being anxious and, having that as the excuse as to the reason why during Mercury retrograde we will shut the hell up and, not mind our P's and Q's, literally dotting our T's and crossing our T's and dotting our I's. That's what retrograde is about, any kind. So, there you have it. Yeah, I'll be back probably today even. You have a blessed Good Friday, everybody. Aloha.